Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here or if you're not, my name is Natalie and today we are doing another Freaky Friday video. And if you don't know, Freaky Friday videos are where I body swap with a Halloweeny, creepy, sometimes cute character every single Friday of October. So basically, every Friday is Halloween. If you haven't seen any of the other Freaky Friday videos, definitely go check those out because I do work really hard on these videos and these videos take quite a bit of time and effort to edit and work through. So thank you guys so much for supporting me and supporting this series because honestly, it is definitely one of my favorite to do every single year. Thank you so much for sticking around, and today we are turning into a, I guess, cute character. In my opinion, he's freaking adorable, okay? And he is in a film that came out this year on Netflix, and that film is K-pop Demon Hunters. And you might have guessed it, but the character I am doing today is Derpy. I'm not really sure if that's actually his name. All I know is that he was given that name after I had watched the movie and everybody was saying that was his name, so I guess I kind of like just jumped on the train to say that was his name, but in the actual movie, they never actually say his name. So, but yeah, let's jump right into the video and turn it into Derpy from K-pop Demon Hunters.
I was a ghost. I was alone. How? Towards him. How? Kiss okay.
Close the windows, lock the door. It's late at night and I hear footsteps on the floor. Blood is freezing in my limbs. Well, is it real or is it just October things?
Okay guys, we are back and my hair is up in a braid already and I am doing my contacts. Again, my contacts are from TTDI. I got the reptile ones because I wanted to do the version of the images that I've seen where his pupils are like thin little spikes. And these contacts, oh my god guys, I hated these because as you could expect for contacts that have to be vertical, where your pupil has to be vertical, they move when you blink your eye. So in this video, there are multiple times where my pupils are like this or this, and I look all derpy. But yeah, now I'm going straight into gluing down my eyebrows because for this look, I wanted to do more of a realistic and copying the image exactly type of look, which is what I normally do. And that is the first of many times where I have to fix my eyeballs, okay? Anyway, I wanted to copy this sort of like realistic version because I've noticed like a lot of the cosplays that people have done of Derpy, they're going for the more cute route or more of a, oh, this is inspired by, and you copy just his like marks, but not necessarily all of the fur. And I've noticed a lot of different interpretations of how people have cosplayed Derpy, but I really wanted to copy the image exactly. Me and powder. Like this, guys, always, always and forever. This is me applying powder in order to matte down my face, in order to apply shadows, and also plan out how I want the look to look. And I am also adjusting my eyeballs constantly during this. But I decided to go with a light blue base, similarly to a lot of my other looks that are blue. I am patting it down with some powder and then shaping out the shapes on my face. For this look, it didn't take me as long to do, and as you can see, the video is quite shorter than the other ones because this look honestly did not take very long because the concept of what I had to do was mostly just strokes, like random strokes, so it looks like hair. And honestly, this look is actually quite easy to do. There are a few things I would have liked to change for sure, which I'll get into when we get to those parts, but as of right now, I'm going in to do the darker shade of blue because if you notice on his face, the only part that's like a light blue is the part that surrounds his actual eyeball. And I'm also opening my mouth a few times and it looks kind of weird when I do it because I'm copying the image of him when he has little card in his tongue on, with the card on his tongue with his mouth open. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Anyway, I am also going with a darker blue in order to shade those portions, kind of just like a like if you're shading like a normal shape, right, you would go around the parts that are darker with a darker blue around the edges. And then from there, if you're making it into hair, you also use that dark blue to make strokes, and it'll eventually start to look like fur. And then you also have to go in with a lighter color to do the same sort of effect, and it'll start to look like those parts have highlights and highlighted fur. And the concept of fur is quite hard, I feel like, for some people, especially if you've never done it before. But as someone who has drawn for a really long time, I have drawn animals before, and so this concept to me is kind of like something that I grasp pretty well, and it's kind of just the idea of like randomly stroking, because the truth is like hair on fur doesn't always go in the same direction. It doesn't always go smoothly and like perfectly aligned in a pattern. And I tried to copy that idea by just stroking my hand like this and drawing constantly, making lines. And it's way easier if you have like a slanted flat brush, for sure. And then I started to copy that idea on the other side of my face. I also made sure to make spaces for the mouth and my nose, or not my nose, his nose, and also for my eyes as well. I also shaded in part of the lighter areas around the eyes with a little bit of shadow as well, in order to give that part dimension too, so it doesn't just look like a light blob on my eye. And then I'm just filling it in, because most of this process is just filling in and drawing hair strokes, if I'm being entirely honest. And that's kind of the reason why this video didn't take super long. I mean, the process of me filming took long, but in terms of editing, what it came down to was quite short, because the process isn't super complicated. And I'm really honestly just copying the image at this point of where the dark hairs are and where the light hairs are. Obviously right now I'm doing the darker hairs currently. And also by going on the edge of the lighter color with the dark one, you can sort of make that like illusion of like fur on top of fur, like there's light fur on top of dark fur. And from there, continuing to make more hair strokes and adding in more shading. I think this part is honestly just a meticulous thing for me, because this part I'm really just trying my best to copy the image as best I can. But the truth is like you can honestly make the fur in whatever pattern you'd like, because this face is pretty even. So the truth is like you don't need to follow the image exactly, because whatever sort of fur strokes you decide to make, it should turn out the same, or should still turn out looking like him. And I'm saying this if you guys are ever going to do this look, because this is not, I promise you this is not a tutorial. I am just here to give you commentary on my process. I lost some footage there. I honestly am really upset, because at that point I had lost some footage of me doing my teeth, because my camera was doing some finicky thing where it was like turning off and on because it was overheating, because I've been filming all day, because I was simultaneously filming a vlog that day, and also it was dying, so I needed to plug it in, and I lost some footage, which happens, you know, technical difficulties happen, and you know, most YouTubers you listen to, you probably hear it all the time, like, oh, I lost this footage. I did lose this footage. But anyway, I didn't lose too much though, because the important part of this is the actual like black portions of the mouth. So the teeth is pretty simple, honestly. It's just a couple triangles, a couple like rounded triangles for like the teeth on the outside. And then with the black, I shaded in the teeth to give them a bit more dimension, and also shaded in and colored in a little bit of a lip line at the bottom for his mouth, because he does have a bit of a lip line. And then from there, I went in with the actual black lipstick to completely fill in the dark spots, because that part, there's no shading, no nothing, it's just void, because it's inside his mouth, so that's just what I went with. And then I copied the same idea on the other side as well. Sorry guys, I'm getting a little hot. So I have a candle here, my windows are closed, and sitting here in a sweater and a turtleneck. But it's cold outside, but in my room it's warm, because it's kind of like you're sucking all of the cool air out of the air because of this candle. But it's fine. It's for the vibes, because I honestly really like my lighting today. I think I did pretty good today. Anyway, I'm continuing to shade the teeth here, and also adding a little bit of a lip line at the bottom there as well, and then filling in again, same process. Up to this point, I'm pretty happy with the work that I've done, but I left the eyes for last because if I'm being honest with you, I really honestly did not know what I wanted to do with those. Because the truth is his eyes kind of go, like, they create this, like, dimensional form that's, like, round and spherical on his face, but it goes from, like, a red shading to a yellow in the center, and his eyes are like this. They're pretty derpy. But my eyes, in comparison to his eyes, are much closer together, so there wasn't really a way for me to shade it so that then my eyes look like they were like this, because my eyes aren't like this. So, because his head is so much bigger than mine, I just kind of look like a squished version of him. So it was a bit difficult in terms of trying to get that part to look like him, but I'll try my best, if I'm being honest with you, and I wish I would have done better on that part. But I did like how I added black into the shading of the darker fur at the bottom, because as it goes down on his face, it starts to become darker and darker because of the shading that happens at the bottom. So I used black in order to create that illusion as well and add a little bit more dimension, because now that I have added such an extreme dark color such as black, the darkest blue started to look a little bit flat on top of the other colors. So by adding black back in, it'll add more dimension to the face and more dimension to the hair as well. So I just added that at the bottom. I also was not as concerned or worried about my chin area, because the truth is like, for the image or the pose that I was going for, my mouth would be open with my tongue out, so you wouldn't really see my chin very much. So then I started to tackle the other eye as well. I go in with the shadows in a little bit. I don't love how I did the shadows, and it wasn't working well with the Mayron white paint, and honestly I was a bit upset about it because it turned into kind of like a paste. And that's just, it was not my goal to have a paste on my eyeballs. And it just wouldn't blend right, and I honestly was like, you know what, this is the best I can do right now, and that's fine. I also went in with this pink for my nose, because he has a cute little pinkish purple nose. I also add a little bit of pink and purple like right here, as you can see right now, because in the image I noticed that part of his face is actually slightly pink, slightly purplish colored, similarly to his nose. And there's just a little bit underneath his nose as well. I thought that detail was really interesting, and I also thought it added a little bit more dimension to his face as well. So this is the point where I start to add in the shadows for the eyes, and I start out with a brush, but this brush starts to create a bit of a painty paste with the Mayron paint, which I wouldn't think would happen, because normally you would set the Mayron paint with the powder, and I thought that, you know, the eyeshadow should be fine to sort of matte it down, because I didn't want to use an extra powder on top or else it would mute the other colors that are around the eye as well, because I can't really get that to be as precise. But then I decided to just go in with my finger and put in the orange and then the yellow gradient, because it just works so much better to pack it on instead of like try to pack it on with a brush. The warmth of my fingers could pack it on way better. And then I added in some white detailing around the eyes, because I noticed his eyes sort of have like a second round pupil around that's white, like that outlines. And then I added white to the fur as well, because again, now that I've added an extreme in the lighter version, the actual base of the blue starts to look a bit flat. So I started to add the white hairs to the face as well, and I do think that this is what really brought it together for sure. After this point, I do end up adding little whiskers, but the paintbrush that I used, and I switched paintbrushes after, but still even that paintbrush I used just were too thick, so it starts to look a little bit weird because the hairs are so big. It's kind of a similar issue that I had with Sally, where the eyelashes that I made just didn't look right because they were so big, and I just wasn't completely a fan of it. But I think that I worked with what I had and I did the best that I could, and Maybe next time I could try to find a thinner brush to do the whisker portions. But yeah, that should be the finished look, guys. I just added some more highlights and there you go.
I was a ghost. I was alone. Huh? Towards him. Huh? Kiss okay.
Hello friends. This is the final look. This hair is giving me overstimulation into my eyeballs. And also these contacts keep moving. But anyway, this is the final look. It's not the best thing I've ever done. Honestly, I don't even know for sure how I feel about it. I even made the little card, like a mini one, for this look as well. And I'm not super happy with the look, if I'm being honest. I do think that the hair could have been better, ears could have been better, the color scheme could have been better. I could have done a lot of things differently, but I'm still glad that I did it. I'm glad that I paid a pretty good homage to the original movie, in my opinion. But at least that's my hope. It is currently 3 o'clock in the morning, and I am tired, and I have not much more to say, because it is what it is. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I need to get this freaking wig off my head because my eyes are crying. Also, these contacts are so drying, and when they keep turning, I look derpy. Anyway, that's it. I'm not going to say anything else because I am pretty tired and I am ready to take a shower, go to bed. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, thank you for watching. Good morning, good night,